49ers sunset update with the Golden Gate Bridge in the background. It's happy hour on Friday. Why don't we talk about Dre Campbell, who has broken his silence after quitting on the 49ers a couple months ago. He tweets in response to an account that wants him to address the situation from December. He tweets, "I ain't addressing shit. I'm rich and never have to work another day of my life. And I told Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch that when they FaceTime me and beg me to come out there an hour after Green Bay cut me." We already know that Dre Campbell's a quitter. We now know that he's also a liar. If he really told John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan that he's rich and he never has to work another day in his life during a FaceTime with them around March 15th, Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch would not have signed him. I think that Dre Campbell's trying to talk a big game right now, well after the fact. On top of that, anybody who has to talk about how rich they are, aside from being tacky, it's tacky, classless, those are all synonyms. It just shows that you're not a very high quality person. And I think the 49ers realized that when Dre Campbell quit on their team. I think that this is a common thread of behavior from Dre Campbell, burning bridges behind him. He talked poorly of the Falcons after his tenure there. He talked poorly of the Packers after his tenure there. Now, he went on a social media tirade about the Packers, but he did it after he signed with the 49ers. So he waited for the ink to dry so the 49ers wouldn't get cold feet. Seems to be a smart strategy. I don't know if Dre Campbell's strategy of refusing to play against the Los Angeles Rams in the 49ers' most important game of the season was all too smart. But he's doubling down on it right now. 49ers fans aren't happy. They have every right to be upset. I think one thing that Dre Campbell should realize is that he was the 49ers' backup option, the backup to the backup option at linebacker. It's not like people were banging on Dre Campbell's door as their very top choice to come and play for them, especially at this advanced stage. The 49ers obviously had Dre Greenlaw as their top linebacker alongside Fred Warner. They knew that he wasn't going to be available at the start of the 2024 season. So first they arranged to sign Eric Kendricks. And Kendricks had a verbal agreement to join the football team, but he hadn't yet signed. And then Eric Kendricks decided to instead sign with the Dallas Cowboys. So when Kendricks, the backup option, fell through, the 49ers went to the backup of the backup option, and that was Dre Campbell. Lesson learned for San Francisco. Don't sign guys who seem to burn bridges everywhere they've been, because he obviously burned a bridge, and he did so spectacularly with the 49ers. And he wasn't even that good of a player for San Francisco to begin with. And, that leads us back to the linebacker position. It's so important for this 49ers defense. It is a spot that unites the defensive front with the secondary. There's a reason why Nick Bosa said that Robert Saleh is adamant that the 49ers bring back Dre Greenlaw. They need to make sure that the linebacker position is solidified. Now, whether it's Dre Greenlaw, Jamien Sherwood, who played for Saleh in New York, or somebody else, or if they go into the draft to fortify the position. I know that D. Winters started playing some better football last year, but however the 49ers do it, they need to make sure that that linebacker position is one of strength. It is no coincidence that this defense was at its best when it had the two best linebackers in football. And there's a tradition with the 49ers, right? They had Patrick Willis and Navarro Bowman about a decade ago. Then when they had both Fred Warner and Dre Greenlaw healthy, as was the case in the first quarter of Super Bowl 58, the 49ers were dominant defensively again. The linebackers make this defense click. When the linebackers aren't in position, when they aren't healthy, then the run defense truly suffers for the 49ers. And if you can't stop the run, you can't have some fun. They're imperative when it comes to plugging holes, wider holes that the wide nine leaves behind to stop the run. Look at Philadelphia's defense. They surged this year with Zach Bond. Picked him up in free agency. Zach Bond was the highest graded linebacker in all of football. Number 2 was Fred Warner. Warner would have been number 1 had he not been playing on a broken foot. But credit to Zach Bond, credit to the Eagles. They needed that linebacker position to excel, so it plugs the holes of the wide nine for the 49ers and makes the run defense competent. Remember, the 49ers run defense sunk from number 1 in the league all the way to number 29 in the league over the course of the past 2 seasons. But also, this new day and age, tight ends, big-time receiving weapons, linebackers can cover tight ends, but linebackers have to be really quick, really versatile to cover tight ends. You need unicorns at the linebacker position to have a solid defense in this day and age. And that's why the 49ers need to focus on that position this offseason. NFL Combine coming up. As you guys can tell, I'm already in Indianapolis. Just kidding. This is a lot more scenic than Indianapolis. This is San Francisco en route to Indianapolis with a stop in Nashville tomorrow. At the Combine, we'll start to get more intel as to the Dre Greenlaw situation, how the 49ers might be able to approach that. What is the market going to be? Because the Devondre Campbell fiasco that we're reminded of today with his tweet storm, what a joke that tweet storm was, that situation reinforces how important it is the 49ers get the linebacker situation right this season. It's a little chilly up here. Definitely not as warm as it was in French Polynesia. So what happened is that I got completely spoiled. I build up this cold water tolerance. I swim out in this water in the San Francisco Bay without a wetsuit typically. I was doing that throughout January. And then, I go out to French Polynesia and it's over 80 degrees and you completely lose that layer of yellow fat. That's the layer of fat that polar bears have. Completely lose that when you're spoiled by the 80+ degree water. Get back in, every part of my body was in like searing pain, like I was getting stabbed. My hands were just not in a good spot. So I put on the wetsuit for my return into this water, hopefully get to take it off soon. But there is little better than an ice cold water swim in the beautiful water behind me. This is the San Francisco Bay at sunset from the top of the Dolphin Club. And that is your update on Devondre Campbell, who really needs to realize that he was not high up on the 49ers list. They were desperate at that linebacker position. That desperation got them in trouble when Campbell quit on the team. They're going to hope for better fortune at linebacker. There's a reason why Robert Saleh is adamant that Dre Greenlaw come back to the 49ers.